Okay, let's talk about Laremy Tunsil, who was traded from the, if you're just hearing about this now, yes, he was traded from the Texans to the Commanders for a second and a third round pick. They're also swapping fourth round picks. So, okay, what's going on? How good of a player is he? And what are the Washington Commanders going to be getting? And then maybe at the end of the video, I'll talk about the trade itself and who I think won. You probably have a good idea already, but let's talk about it. So first, let's start off with the play you see on your screen. I mean, it's, again, sometimes offensive line film studies can be a little bit, simple because, I mean, it just really, when it comes to offensive linemen, everyone has some wins and some losses, and what you want to see is a guy who wins consistently, right? But this is a nice win. Watch him be able to block the edge rusher out of the way, for a very long time, ultimately only because Stroud scrambles up. It is, that player even in the picture for a minute, but really that is a really good job by Laremy Tunsil, and this is what we saw him do pretty consistently, was just be able to win his one-on-ones, right? Consistency is what you want. That is what Tunsil brings to the table, someone who you can trust on the blind side to protect your young quarterback who you definitely want to protect. But there are other things that Tunsil can do, like, for example, he is a veteran player. He's been in the league for a while, so he's kind of seen it all. This is a good example where right off the bat, you see the player that he's looking to block. That's on paper who he should block or should pay the most attention to. But the Chiefs, I mean, this is what the Chiefs do, right? They show one thing, then have different guys blitz or, have different guys drop back. That's how they want to attack things. So they're going to have that player run essentially just into Laremy Tunsil. And because of this, if he goes quickly enough, perhaps he can just get by Tunsil and get straight to the quarterback. That's kind of the whole piece. So right when it begins, Tunsil, okay, is paying enough attention to know, okay, that's a player I have to pay attention to. Again, you want to, as an offensive lineman, look from the inside, then look out because you have more time to adjust if it's further out. Tunsil knows how to do that, and he's now in position to block the Kansas City player he's supposed to block. Watch, as you see, he finishes off this block well. Now, Stroud got sacked by other players, which, let's be honest, I mean, watching film, that this is what happens a lot, is sometimes I couldn't even show some Tunsil film because he didn't have enough time to block because someone else gave up a sack elsewhere and quickly enough that the play just didn't go on for too long. But you are getting this as well. You're getting a veteran player who knows how to block, knows who to block, and isn't going to mess things up this way, which is definitely something that you want to see. Now, heading over here, I will say that, okay, there are elite level tackles in this league. I don't know if, from watching the tape from Tunsil, they do view him as a really good tackle who they trust one-on-ones, but they also will help him out at times, which, I mean, listen, hey, not the worst idea in the world, especially when you're going up against good edge rushers like what's happening here. Khalil Mack is going to be going up against him one-on-one, and the Texans kind of would say, okay, in these situations, we're not just going to leave you one-on-one. Even if it's something small, like what they're doing right here, where you see the tight end is lined up next to Tunsil. He's not even blocking on this play, but just the fact that he's lined up next to Tunsil, I mean, he actually is blocking a little bit, but he's not fully blocking on this play. He's going to chip him and run a route. I mean, I'll just show you instead of telling you. Watch, you see that doesn't really do much, right? It's kind of there, but really is kind of just sitting there to force Mack to not be able to use his speed rush, which Mack is so good at. Because of this, now you have a situation where all Mack can really try and do is overpower Tunsil. And as you see, Tunsil holds on. So, I mean, we saw this sometimes with the Texans. Tunsil didn't win 100% of his reps, of course. And sometimes you would say, hey, let's just help him out against a really good pass rusher. All of that stuff makes sense, I think. But honestly, more often than not, you would see this even when he's going up against great pass rushers like this. This is Chris Jones, who is going to block one-on-one on this play. Chris Jones, as an edge rusher here, can still be just as dominant as an edge rusher. Watch as you see Tunsil, right here is in position to where, again, Chris Jones, who usually has such good hands, can't really use his hands to get around Tunsil at this point. All he can try to do is overpower him, and as we've seen, trying to overpower Tunsil doesn't work out too well. Tunsil's able to hold on, and then Stroud has time to go elsewhere. So again, this is what Tunsil can do. He's a really good pass protector. He's, top 10 pass protector in the league probably. So very good stuff. He's human, but he's really good, right? So you're definitely getting a star player there. He will false start a bit too much. That's a fair point. But other than that, he is very good. However, It's the Washington Commanders, and they do not just drop back and pass, they run the ball a lot. So how is he in the running game? Well, there's kind of two things you want to look at with the running game. First, it is just how do you block the guy in front of you, and then how do you get up to the next level? Let's first things first, talk about, okay, that's the player he's going to block. You see right there on your screen. Stroud is going to take the snap. Tunsil gets in position. And, okay, at this point, everything's going smoothly, but you want to try and get that Chiefs player out of the way as much as possible. And watch Tunsil just be able to drive him very far back, helps clear out a big window until the safety is able to come in and make a nice tackle. That's what he can do. Yes, Tunsil is known for his pass blocking. That's what he's known for, but he can still be an effective run blocker. Do not think that you're getting a bad run blocker or anything like this in exchange for a good pass blocker. You're getting a fantastic pass blocker who was also still a very effective run blocker. Heading over here, one of the real things I wanted to check when I decided to do this evaluation is, okay, the guy's 30 years old. How can he do this? Moving up to the next level, because these things are important, not just in the traditional handoff game, but also, I mean, if you have a quarterback who's going to run and run designed runs, you need an offensive lineman who can move with that quarterback, right? Maybe not as fast, but they need to be able to move, right? So here, that's what Tunsil is going to have to do. Get up to the next level to block Nick Bolton. And how effective is he at it? Well, you're going to see he's going to be effective here. He's able to get to the next level and block Nick Bolton. Now, the play got completely blown up before it got there. Tunsil's solid at this. He's not a superstar at it. There would be times when guys would be able to use their footwork to kind of get around him eventually, but for the most part, he gets to his position to where he's not going to whiff on blocks. Eventually, you can get around him if you're a smaller guy by using footwork, but it's not going to be immediate, so he's still very effective in this. Again, they're not trading for him for his run blocking, but he can be an effective run blocker as well. Ultimately, I think the question that you have to ask with this move, Tunsil's a good player. We get that. The question you almost have to ask is it worth spending this much resources if you're the Commanders on offense when your offense was so good last year and your defense it got better as the year went on, but wasn't great last year? It's a fair question to ask, and I think that is more fair with like the Deebo Samuel move, in my opinion. But you think about this, and at the end of the day, you need to protect your star asset. The most important person in that organization right now is Jaden Daniels after his rookie year. You don't want a Robert Griffin III thing where he gets hurt a bunch. Protect him. He's going to have to take some hits because he's a running quarterback, but you don't want to have, honestly, the most dangerous hits are the blindside hits, right? Because you're not protected, and that's when bad things can really happen. So for Daniels to have a good blindside protector, it makes sense. I totally get the logic, and I'm never going to insult the team for getting a star tackle. And I think another important aspect too, second and third round picks are not this draft. They are next year's draft. So for this year, they should be just as good. I believe they don't have their fourth from the, there's a pick that they were missing from when they traded away, or when they traded for Marshawn Lattimore. So, but they mostly have their picks this draft. And then by next year, okay, will those players be great as rookies? Unlikely. Usually it takes about a year. So you're probably maximizing the window of Jaden Daniels' rookie year. The way I always view this, rookie deal, the way I always view this is when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal that you trust, okay, first year, you trust them. Next 3 years, go all out to win a championship, because you're going to have to start paying him. It's going to be tougher. Not impossible, but tougher. So do what you can now. That's how I've always viewed it. But yeah, those are my thoughts on all of this. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. Hey, thanks for watching to the end of that video. I do appreciate it. If you want to see my other channel, Jackson Kruger Movies, where I talk about movies, give some film reviews and stuff like that of a different kind, if that seems like your kind of thing, the link is in the description below for that, as is the link for my Twitter account. I'm at Jackson Kruger, so give me a follow on there if that's your kind of thing. And also, of course, remember to hit the subscribe button on this channel. I do always appreciate it, and thanks again for watching to the end of the video.